Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to your November 4th members only live call. My name is Champ Bobbitt. This is Steve Bayonne. Today, we're going to walk you guys through a wild gamut, right? So I hope you guys have your pen and pad ready. Welcome to all the new members. If you weren't able to make it live and direct with us, the replay will always be available. So without further ado, Steve, you got the floor, brother. Talk that talk.
What's good?
Ah, my guy.
All right. My wife kind of inspired this talk for tonight. We were kicking it the other day, and I was telling her about the the connection points to just all the corporations and who owns what. And I think what jumped out to her the most was when the AWS was down the other day, how much of the internet sat on it. Right, literally, like the internet sits at the top, and there's stilts at the bottom, and there's people that own the stilts. So it's not that the internet is not decentral, is that we chose to only do business with centralized companies. And that's what's kind of causing this. So I want to take you guys through a little bit of a ride. There's going to be a lot of data in this, but you'll understand the points. All right. So we have, I'm going to talk about cloud dominance. I'm going to talk about media consolidation, um, the banks, and then the tech military alliance that was formed. And I'm going to bridge together how it's almost going to be damn near impossible for us to become sovereign or not dependent on these systems. All right. They've been orchestrating this for like a few decades now, guys. This shit is pretty genius. But at the end of the day, we bite in our own faces. So, y'all ready? All right. So, we're going to talk about the major media owners and what they control, major cloud providers, their share of the internet, and the real kind of examples from the outage. So, you understand the tech companies that are working directly with military and the defense, and then how all this ties together with digital ID, surveillance, and centralized control. All right, it's real simple. So the first thing is going to be this media consolidation. So who owns media? All right, so I got these things. It's called the Big Six. All right, these are the key players. So about 90% of U.S. media consumption is controlled by six major conglomerates. And here are the companies and who owns them. And you're going to start to see a trend in a lot of this shit. All right. So you got Comcast Corporation. That's NBC Universal, NBC Telemundo, Universal Pictures, DreamWorks, Animation, Cable Network, USA Network, Sci Fi, CNBC, MSNBC. It inquired Sky UK and Europe for television and broadband. All right. Brian Roberts, the CEO. Robert controls about 1% of the shares and holds, he has a super voting share that gives him about 33% of the voting power. So he's not a regular CEO. He's pretty powerful. All right. Now, when we go on to the institutional side, these are the three biggest shareholders. Obvious. Vanguard, just under 10%. Blackrock, about 6%. And then State Street, 4.5%. Doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, these guys are also the guys that kind of control the politicians that make moves happen. See what I'm saying? So it's not so much how much power the CEO or the owner of a company can have, it's who's driving the uh, who controls Washington. All right. So understand Vanguard, number one institutional shareholder. All right. Number two is Walt Disney Company. Remember, these six own 90% of media. He who controls your mind controls your time. He who controls your time controls your mind. Right. Now we're going back to Professor D. 90% of media, guys. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, we're in the wrong industries. This is what drives, this is what feeds the pharmaceutical commercials at in between part. Like, you kind of see where I'm going with this. The narratives that are shown on TV about they can make anybody the boogie monster at any given time. Very powerful. Probably the most powerful business that you can get involved in. That's why you don't see no black ownership in it. And they just Larry Ellison just bought BET too, so that BET's been smoked, but just letting you know that that's the guy that has it. And they're all Zionists. Like, can't make it up. Walt Disney owns ABC, Disney Channel, Freedom FX, FXX, Nat Geo, Film Studio, Walt Disney Pictures, Pixar, Lucasfilms, Marvel Studio, shit, ESPN, all the all that stuff. 20th Century Studio, streaming, Disney Plus, Hulu. And then, of course, the theme parks, right? The Walt Disney Company, that's another guy named Bob. Well, another Robert Iger. He's a majority shareholder with a few other people that don't even really matter, but the top institutional shareholders are Vanguard, just under 9%, Blackrock, again, right around 6%, State Street, again, right around 4%. You would think all of this was the same company. Warner Brothers, WBD, Warner Media, Discovery Inc., they own HBO, Warner Brothers Pictures, CNN, TBS, DC Comics, and guys, I'm just naming a few because we'd be here all night, and various other cable networks. All right. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO, David Slavin, whatever. Major shareholders don't really matter, but this one guy holds it's Stephen Newhouse. He holds 60%, 16% of the company. So the top institutional investors, again, drum roll, anybody. Vanguard, 10%, BlackRock, 7%, State Street, 6.5%. Paramount Pictures, Skydance, Paramount Pictures, CBS, MTV, Comedy Central, and then a bunch of other broadcasting and streaming assets that we don't have to go into. They have co-CEOs, nobody that really matters. Top institutional shareholders, one more time, just giving you two. Vanguard, 10%. National Amusement Trust, that's the Redstone family, 9.5%. Now we're talking about a trust now for all my past people. Sony Group Corporation. They own films, TV, music operations, including Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures, and then a whole bunch of entertainment assets. These are the guys. All right. So major shareholder guys. Remember, these guys are coming out of Japan. So major shareholder is the Master Trust Bank of Japan, about 18.5% that they hold. The CEO, top institutional shareholder is going to be Vanguard, just under 4%. Last but not least, Amazon.com Inc. While primarily tech and retail, it owns Amazon, MGM Studios, Amazon Prime, Twitch, and other major media distributors. All right, this rabbit hole goes deep. The CEO is going to be Andy Jassy. All right, individual owner Jeff Bezos, of course. It's not on record, but it's anywhere between 8 to 10% of Amazon's outstanding shares are owned by Bezos. He did cash out heavy in the last couple years. All right. Top institutional shareholders, drum roll one more time: Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Pretty much the same thing. All right. So you're asking me, why does this matter? So when a few companies control what you watch, read, and hear, they shape the narratives, the opinions, right? And even the policy, just policy perception. That's powerful. Okay. Champ and I just do it on a small scale, but I can only imagine like being responsible for hundreds of millions, if not billions, as this is 90% of media runs through these guys. Media control plus cloud infrastructure control equals what? The power to shape access, story framing, and then they can make you believe what is real. So now we're entering the era of like deep fakes. We're entering the era of independent media news, which I would consider us being independent media, not owned or paid for by anybody, no sponsorship, nothing. So now with the rise of independent media, you have to kind of squash the noise a little bit. So Obama just the other day, he mentioned that he on the campaign trail. The guy's funny. He's very like likable, but you got to hear what he says. So he's done almost everything that Trump's done, just doesn't say the shit out loud, right? He deported over 3 million people in his 2 times in office, which is the most of any sitting president. Trump's around 1 million right now. But again, if you showed the images of that, he could have been portrayed as a different president at the end of the day. Biden couldn't even read or write, and somehow, they just protected him the whole entire time, right? So it doesn't matter what Trump does or what anybody does. The narrative is what shapes the perception of people, right? So part of Trump's narrative is to gaslight, and he's willing to take that joint. So they're willing to run with it at the end of the day. Because when you can't think straight, you can't make any decisions, and you're just on a lifeline right now, and they're ready to bury all of us. All right. So in a world of like digital ID and programmable money, narratives control, they become a lever of power. This is one of the ways that they're gonna like make us conform to this is by teaching us through what we watch. Y'all ready to shut this shit off? It's on you. All right. The next thing is going to be the cloud infrastructure. This is the one you got to pay attention to. These are the top 3 cloud infrastructure providers, and I'm going to go over their market power. All right. These 3 cover, I want to say close to 70% of all companies are running through here. It's about 66%. Let me not exaggerate. All right. Amazon Web Service, AWS, they went down the other day. Their market share is about 31% of every company is rolling through Amazon's cloud. All right. So the parent company, of course, is Amazon.com Inc. The CEO, again, is Andy Jassy. Top shareholders, Jeff Bezos, Vanguard, Blackrock, State Street. Very powerful. If you remember the image of when Trump won the presidency, everybody that was standing behind him were what we call the tech oligarchs. Every single one of these guys have been on national, global tours with Trump. That's the power the U.S. has right now. That we have the biggest tech companies globally. So as long as the United States can control that, that's the new oil, right? That's the power. That's the world reserve currency has now shifted to tech, right? They just have to keep these guys in the U.S. So AWS is the largest cloud service provider in the world. It powers large portion of the global internet and infrastructure. It holds contracts with major U.S. government agencies like the CIA, the NSA, and the Department of Defense. And it even built the government GovCloud for secure government use. Powerful. All right. So some of the major companies using AWS: Netflix, Facebook. Meta uses AWS for certain services. NASA hosts open data on AWS. Twitch, which is owned by Amazon. Airbnb is on there. LinkedIn partially is on there. All right. The next one is going to be Microsoft Azure. They own 24% market share. Parent company, Microsoft Corporation. No need to know the CEO. Top shareholders, Vanguard, BlackRock, Bill Gates, CEO and co-founder. Right. Azure supports a massive share of enterprise infrastructure, education systems, hospitals, government agencies. It also powers cloud backend for Microsoft 365, which is what? Word, Excel, Outlook, Teams. All right. Tools that dominate the global productivity and communication that we use every single day to run business and commerce. All right. Major companies using Azure is who? Boeing, Samsung, Coca-Cola, eBay, AT&T, U.S. Defense, Jedi, JWCC contracts. All right. Last but not least is Google, 11% of market share. Google Cloud Platform, GCP. All right. Top shareholders, Larry Page, co-founder, Sergey Brin, co-founder. This is the PayPal Mafia guys. That's a whole nother conversation. Vanguard, BlackRock. So Google Cloud powers searches like what? YouTube, Gmail, Google Docs, and more. Used by billions of people every day. So this is kind of like, if this was a top crypto company, it'd be like XLM. Read between the lines, guys. This is the stuff that like kind of powers the people. All right. Not on the institutional side, but still big. All right. Major companies using GCP, PayPal, Target, Twitter, Home Depot, Spotify, Toyota. All right. So think about the consolidation of power across all 3 of these guys. Remember, I told you it's over 66% control of the global cloud infrastructure market. So the cloud market is the backbone of the modern internet that we know and love today. All right. Storing everything from your bank data, emails, photos, passwords, health records. The back end of apps like Uber, Netflix, and even military systems all lie within the power of these 3 companies that are controlled by mainly the same people that are invested in the same products. All right. That all control government. So these platforms decided, if these platforms ever decided that, or were forced by governments to shut down a company's access, they could easily, effectively erase its ability to operate digitally. This is happening in China now. You know, China's been on the what's the shit? Social credit score. So now there's a rise in homelessness in China. So once they kick you off of it, you can't get work. You're locked out of your apartment. This is happening now, guys. There's loopholes in the law. If you don't pay your rent and all this digital shit that's going on, they can literally lock you out of your apartment until you make the payment. Straight up. They're not, this is a permissionless. Remember, when we use the word permissionless in crypto and blockchain, just know that it could be used on 2 sides, the good and the bad. So let's think about that. Anything that you hear, just automatically go to the negative of that, be able to digest it, then you'll be fine if you can sidestep it. But if you want some, nah, they would never do that, good luck, because it's happening right now. When I went to Colombia, I stayed in Bogota, and it was only like 1 or 2 nights. And the building I stayed in, I didn't even read to know if it was biometrics. I got checked in one time with the front desk. There was always 1 or 2 front desk guys, at least 2 front desk guys there every day. But after that, it was all biometrics to get in the building. I couldn't buy. That was it. Either I paid to go somewhere else or to get in the elevator. Everything was biometrics. I mean, the screens were following me everywhere I went. All right. So here are the real control levers. All right. So you have surveillance capabilities. All right. So they work closely with intelligence agencies through secure cloud services. So understand the relationship is not just on the government side, it's really to, and you got to thank Obama for that too. All right. This is well known that they're spying on us. They said it. Oops, my bad. Like nothing, no, they ain't cut no check, nothing. It's just where it's at right now. So when they got caught, that's when the shift happened to them forming the relationships and bringing in the tech oligarchs, right? You've watched them on Capitol Hill. They be drilling these dudes, acting like they about to shut the shit down or set some rules. It's just a matter of like keeping them in place and in control for whatever they need. And if you're running hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars in business, there's no way that you're going to stand up to a government that could shut you down or even jail you for anything that they want. And all these guys are the same breed. All right. So you got digital ID and compliance informant. So cloud logins are already integrated with digital ID features. All right. So you have SSO, you have biometrics, and you have 2FA. These are all digital ID features that we're using every day. And we haven't even realized that we have been conforming to this. All right. Centralized control make it easier to pressure platforms into compliance. Right. This is part of it. Bring them in, parade them around, spank them a few times, take some money from them, keep them in line. All right. So with government surveillance and censorship requests, we know that with the Biden administration during COVID, they were censoring many people who were speaking out against the vaccine, shut down pages. It was documented. It was in emails. It came from the top, and nothing happened. We're still using the very same platforms, right or wrong? Okay. So BlackRock and Vanguard ownership. This is where things get a little thing. So with these two firms amongst the top 3 shareholders in who? Amazon, Microsoft, and Alphabet, co-owning nearly every major player that we know in tech is co-owned by these guys. So through board votes, asset management, ESG policies. I did a breakdown of ESG maybe a while ago. We've talked about so many things. They align corporate behavior with global agendas and government demands. So if it's listen, let's talk about women being men and men being women and all things. That's a ESG mandate, and this is the George Soros effect, right? Just fucking up societies. This is what these guys want to do. So daily life dependence. The average person touches what these cloud companies a dozen times per day. Put a one in the chat if you think that you might touch these companies that many times after I just named all these networks, all these social media platforms. Put a one in the chat. Let me know I was looking. Who's sharing? Got it. All right. So you got Amazon AWS again. That's streaming on Netflix, shopping online, using apps hosted by AWS and servers. Just in case you didn't put a one in, I'll just recap. Microsoft Azure sending emails via Outlook, joining Zoom. Did we not all touch it just now? Yes, sir. Editing Word docs using the Xbox. I still playing in video games. Google Cloud, searching anything on Google, watching YouTube, using Gmail, Docs, Android. I'm stuck. I'm part of the problem. So the deeper your digital life becomes, the easier it becomes for these gatekeepers to filter, deny, or surveil access. How do we get away? Top 5 U.S. banks. It's the big five right here. J.P. Morgan Chase, assets about 4 trillion, largest in the U.S. Jamie Dimon, the CEO and chairman. All right, top institutional shareholders. One more time. Vanguard, almost 10%. BlackRock, just under 8. State Street, about 4.5. Ownership, institutional collective owns approximately 73% of the shares. This is like white, like Zionists. Bank of America, I've been banking with them since I was a kid. That's all about to come to an end. All right, part of my digital sovereignty is breaking away from these systems. 3.3 trillion in asset. Institutional shareholders, Vanguard, Blackrock, State Street. Again, same thing. Citigroup, 2.4 trillion. Jane Fraser is the CEO. Top institutional shareholders. Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Again, Wells Fargo and Company, 1.9 trillion in assets. Top shareholders, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street. Again, U.S. Bank Corp, 660 billion. Top shareholders. Anybody want to take a shot at this one, champ? Come
Vanguard,
on.
Blackrock, State Street.
There we go. Good job.
Wow.
Good job. Total market share and asset control. The top five banks collectively manage approximately $12.3 trillion in assets. That represents over 55% of the total assets held in the United States commercial banking system. 55% of total assets held in the United States commercial banking system. All right. So it gives them influence over credit, payments, and financial infrastructure. When these guys infuse that capital inside of cryptocurrency, my God, if you're holding the right assets, welcome to the game. But you got to be able to break away from these guys too. Okay. So why does this matter? Control through consolidation. All right. These five banks dominate key financial activities: personal banking, mortgage, commercial lending, investment banking, wealth management, payment infrastructure. All right. So fewer independent players remain, which means systemic dependency on small set of institutions. I keep telling y'all, we got to be a bank, right? We have to be a bank ran by people. Because what do you need them for? Let's be honest. How many people got a mortgage through any one of those banks? They don't really give them shits out like that. They're not community banks, right? So what are you getting from them? A debit card? Sure, my credit was bad. Bank of America wasn't trying to fuck with me. They didn't even accept. I gave them $500 to get a prepaid card back in the day to build my credit up, and they held the money. And after a couple months, I went back to them. They're like, "Oh, you weren't denied for a prepaid debit card," but they held the 500. Never said shit. What?
Robbery.
Straight up. Good thing I remembered. Institutional investors, again, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, are not only major shareholders in these banks, but they also across tech, media, defense, and pharmaceutical companies, right? So this creates an aligned incentive and cross industry influence. Guys, I didn't even go into like the medical industry. That's one, and that's just a whole day of that one. All right. I'll break that one down too with how they fund doctors and med school, and that whole industry is just nuts. That'll be one in its own. All right. So you have systemic risks. You ever heard too big to fail?
Siffy.
That's it.
Yeah.
There you go. So in a crisis situation, which we've had before, these banks are considered SIFI.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Banks are considered SIFI. All right. Meaning that they are prioritized for bailouts or backstop support to prevent market collapse. This is where we're at right now. The only thing is they're not going to do bailouts. Actually, they have been bailing out because they infused about $125 billion in the banking system in the last week.
5 days.
In the last 5 days, it's considered insolvent. These banks don't have no money. And this is going to major banks. Forget it. The small regional banks, they're gonna let them fry. Right? And then who's gonna buy it? So anytime banks would whatever just to stop a contagion, they would get together the big five and they would just put money together and they'll start buying up these institutions to make sure that this shit don't run out. So what just happened November 1st? On a Saturday, they updated the banking rules. They lowered the ATM limits, right? They changed a few things. You probably got the disclosure that you didn't read, which is fine. But yeah, they're just limiting the amount of cash that you could take out of a bank. They're doing you a favor. So now you can understand in the last couple of years why we've never been really, it's never been so easy to infuse capital into the crypto market, right? Because the banks were stopping the transaction. It didn't matter if it was debit, credit, did everything but go to that cash ATM machine, Bitcoin ATM machine and get killed. You understand? So that's showing you the power and the importance of it. They don't want the liquidity leaving the market. This is why nobody really teaches cryptocurrency because of how powerful the information is. All right. And self custody, which is what, if you're from Pavs Group, you've seen this is what we've been talking about lately, is your ability to own your cryptocurrency, your ability to run your own bank. Champ and I are putting together our first, well, not first, but live class that's going to be about cold storage, right? We've given y'all some stuff, but now it's about like just moving it. It's about basically we're just going to be reading y'all a story because I swear I gave it to y'all before. But don't worry, it's just going to save you time. All right. It's kind of better us telling you than you reading it on your own. And I'm only giving it because that's what the people asked for. I had no interest in this shit. I've turned down hundreds of dollars for people that wanted one-on-ones. So now you'll spend less than that and it'll be a collective and then you'll just have it. But the one thing I would tell you to do is stop playing. All right. Self custody is probably one of the most powerful things that you can, that one of those powerful things that you can know, even if you're not ready to fully do it or commit to it. Just understand what type of investment in security do you think these banks have to safeguard your money in a digital world? Right? They're watching every transaction. So if you're going to safeguard your cryptocurrency, you got to do some things. Okay? You got to plug up some wires, you got to be able to like, it's a little annoying, but it is kind of part of it. All right? Today's prices ain't the prices for tomorrow and shit, the market is bleeding. This is the shakeout, guys. This is how I know we're getting closer to it. So I'm in. I'm in. I don't care how low it goes. I don't even got too much more to even be given to this shit. Unless XRP drops to 50 cents again. Below that, I'm in.
That's your
There's
number.
certain ones I'm looking at right now, and they ain't there yet because we've been in it for 10 years, so we're all not all the same. All right, so when the same institutions hold dominant ownership stake across banks, media, tech, government contracts, you're no longer looking at competition. You're looking at a consolidated matrix of control. This is where we're at right now. All right, consolidation of financial power in five massive institutions create fragile yet tightly held systems. It's a domino. So when you hear the globalists and like global elite, you knock one domino down, everybody is affected by it. This is why they want to connect every single market to central banks and all lending, and why they would even create fake storms to ravage countries because it's way cheaper to do that than to invade them. That's another conversation. All right. So the public, me and you, are left with what? Fewer alternatives and greater dependency. Who's your daddy? Tech, military, and state infrastructure integration. So we got this thing called the Detachment 201, the U.S. Army's Executive Innovation Corp. All right. So they launched the Detachment 201. It's a specialized unit within the Army Reserve, designed to recruit senior tech executives from private sector and embed them directly into the military for innovation efforts. All right. We all saw this. They took the oath. These officers maintain part time military roles while continuing their civilian careers. Their job is to advise the military tech transformation, digital infrastructure, AI, cybersecurity, and national defense innovation. You guys might say, wow, this is great. They're going to protect us. Yeah, right. It's really put together to be to fuck with us. All right. These are the same guys. So think about the conflict of interest in this. Now you give them all this power to create these systems for the government, and they already have all this power in the system that the government allowed them to create to watch citizens. So are they not consolidating power with the government right now? And is that not a conflict of interest? And who the fuck is funding this? Taxpayers.
Yep, we are.
Congratulations. Smartest country in the world. Andrew Bosworth, CTO of Meta. Shyam Sankar, CTO of Planetary Technologies. Kevin Well, Chief Product Officer of OpenAI, formerly VP of Facebook and Twitter. These are some of the executives that were commissioned. All right. Um, Fuse military strategy with real-time tech innovation. They are working on some wild stuff, though. I'm not going to say that, but streamline AI, cloud computing, and digital warfare strategies. Okay, this is not against other governments and other countries solely. The most powerful person that they can go to war with is the actual citizens of a country.
Yep.
Because think about if we said no as a collective, what the fuck do you think they could do? Stand down. So now you have a revolving door that's being built between tech innovation and military deployment. When I say revolving door, I mean they go in and out, they do as they fucking please. All right, so big tech companies working with defense and contract. All right, so over the last 10 years, guys, major U.S. tech firms have been doing what? Steadily increasing their involvement in what? Defense contracts, intelligence agencies, and then law enforcement. All right, so back in the days, they were reluctant to engage. Now they're building key government and military systems. Okay, here's some numbers right now. Microsoft about $13.5 billion in defense contracts with the Azure cloud used by the Pentagon and the DoD. All right. Amazon AWS about $10.2 billion in defense contracts. Where are they getting the money from? The whole CIA intelligence data built government gov cloud to secure classified data. Google got 4.3 billion in contracts. Project Maven. And remember,
Mm.
these guys are working with Israel too, guys. So just to let you know, everybody is. Cloud and AI development and defense intel use. Meta, Facebook is at the table. AR, augmented reality. You don't even know. You won't even be able to tell. And I've been telling my wife this shit for years. Like, yo, none of these shows are the Nat Geo and all that stuff we watch. There's no way that this shit is real. And now I could confirm that. So we're watching things that aren't even like deep fakes have been around for a long time. Now it's one of those things like we would just question everything. Then we'll be so defeated by so much fake shit that we're not gonna even if it's real, we won't even care. We'll just say, it's this fake. All right. So Meta has AR and AI development in defense contract. All right. Um, am I saying this right? Planeteer, say it for me.
Palantir.
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 There you go.
Yeah.
Palantir.
Mhm.
So that's the defense. That's the surveillance guys. They're the worst. Right.
Worse.
So built for surveillance and in battlefield intelligence, deeply integrated with ICE, the DoD, and intelligence agencies. OpenAI execs are embedded in military corp. Detachment 201, ChatGPT's evolution tied to military AI strategy. All right, that's OpenAI is there. Sam Altman or Bankman or both.
Both.
And Bankman coming home.
Crazy.
Sam Bankman coming home.
They cleared the slate.
Yeah, let me. I want to share something with you guys today too. This was a post by Earn Your Leisure, and this ain't a dig at them. It's just shit came up on my feed today, so I figured I'd just chime in. Okay, I'll take that. So, key points. These military firms are now developing military grade infrastructure, drone intelligence, AI surveillance, AR combat tools, predictive defense models. Who the hell you think they're going to try this shit on first? All right. So, the same platform that's used for civilian life, cloud storage, email, search, videos are co developed by military operations. Who's dumb and who's dumber? You got cloud infrastructure and surveillance rails. The three largest providers, AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, they host over 70% of the global infrastructure cloud market, right? So they host the majority of government data, healthcare systems, banking and fintech platforms, social media, communication platforms, identity, biometrics. So what, Steve? What does it matter? Whoever controls the cloud control access to modern digital life. These firms can deny you access, can deny you service, can enable surveillance, can facilitate identification upon government requests. All right. So with cloud centralization, any company or platform that relies on AWS, Azure, or any one of these depend on the United States military aligned infrastructure, meaning if I am hosting with these guys and I'm a private company, I just named of only a few of these companies that control the entire internet. If they decide to go rogue, where do they go? Do you know how much it costs to host your own? Now you're rogue. Good luck. So here's some power, embedded power. So AWS hosts the CIA and the NSA data, right? It's built in air gapped. Yeah, I know y'all heard air gap before, right? High
Mhm.
security cloud for just US intelligence agencies. All right. I don't want to keep repeating myself with this. So we have a consolidation of power from media all the way to military intelligence, cloud hosting, social surveillance, meaning they have devices right now that are formed. They plug up your phone inside the airport. They look for keywords. They can tell you exactly who you are, what you're doing, and what you're about to do. And you could be denied access within countries or even wherever, airport, stores, you name it. They doing us a favor now.
Yeah, right.
They have AI development for targeting and tracking, biometrics, ID, and digital surveillance systems. Basically, all this is being built. All this is here now. Tap to pay, like all the stuff that we use on a daily basis. They're tracking systems. All right. So when you pair media ownership with cloud dominance, this creates a situation where a handful of firms can do what? They can shape the narrative in the media, right? They control the minds of people. They could host critical infrastructure, which is the cloud control. They could provide identity and login access, whether or not you can get into your business, your place of your home, your residence, whatever. Um, they can build tools of war and surveillance, military contracts. They influence governments via lobbying and embedded executives. You put moles in place. You buy politicians. You own the president. So, what we are seeing right now is the merge of Silicon Valley with Pentagon. I never thought these guys would be in the same building. It's a modern version of the military industrial complex. Now they get to fuck with everybody. It's now digitized. One of the most powerful complexes in the world. The same companies that entertain you and connect you. We're having fun yet? They're building tools to surveil you and police you. Y'all want me to keep going? And they have direct contracts and strategic partnerships and positions in the state military that's going to be weaponized against us. Five banks control over half the Americans' financial assets. These check these check these tech giants host nearly all the cloud infrastructure and military data. Six media conglomerates control 90% of what you see, hear, and even believe. And behind every single one of those things that I just named are the same shareholders, the same defense contracts, the same surveillance infrastructure, all intertwined with each other. I don't want y'all to be scared. I just need y'all to be aware. What we're forming here is only about digital sovereignty right now. Every single aspect of what we teach. All right. It's about understanding convenience is not future, or I'm sorry, convenience is not freedom. Let's understand that. Okay. Um, ownership of your data, your money, your identity, my voice, your voice is no longer guaranteed in this new system. They're tracking us, they're ranking us, they're programming us. So it's not. I don't want y'all to think it's ill will. It's just about control. You know what I'm saying? It's just about control. But I need y'all to understand you still have choice in matter. Okay. I don't care if it's one or two people that might believe me when you get off this call. You have choice and matter. All you have to do is say no. You don't have to ask for permission. You can choose to unplug from dependency. You can choose to own your own mind, your money, your voice, your visions. Still free will. You have a choice. We can build alternatives, which I've been stressing. We can learn the systems. We can beat it with knowledge and community. That's what we're doing here. We don't wait for permission. I don't. Stand behind me if you're scared. Um, I'm not waiting for the collapse, and you shouldn't either. It's like waiting for regret. Reclaim your fucking agency, reclaim your fucking intelligence, reclaim your goddamn future. The next war is not fought on land, guys. I'm telling you that shit now. The next war is fought in the cloud, on your fucking screen, in your fucking wallet, and on your fucking mind. Love. I'm here for the outro.
Yikes.
One
Man.
more. So I don't forget about EYL. Just
Oh,
so it's
yeah.
on record.
Yeah.
Gambling companies are using the same strategy as cigarette companies used back in the days. Get them young, keep them addicted forever. Genius. Here's my comment. Never answered. Wayne, what's up with that, man? Give me a meeting, brother. Nah, this ain't a dig at them. It's wild how history keeps repeating itself. First cigarettes, now gambling. And soon it'll be something new. We call it investing, right? But at what point are we just financing a system that feeds off addiction and distractions? If we profit from their pain, are we really winning? Invest in the big five, invest in the. All right, cool. Get that money, brothers. This is the shit that's being taught to us. We have the power to shift culture. And we keep fucking investing in the same companies that are giving us minuscule returns and funding our own demise at the end of the day. And then we report about how bad it is to be gambling or smoking cigarettes. What the fuck, man? So I'm the adult in the comment. I'm a hater. I'm here for the outro.
All right. So the crazy part about is this was a wild talk, but this is on everybody's radar now. And that's the part that most people can't stomach. The entertainment, the connection, the convenience, it's all running through the same corridors, right? They call it innovation, but let's call it what it is. This is weaponized technology wrapped in comfort. We got to separate ourselves. And this is what we truly need to do. We see it, we understand it, refuse 100% to participate blindly. We got to use all of this knowledge as our armor and sovereignty as the strategy. The moment you can see the system, you're no longer trapped by it. So this isn't fear by no means. This is a clarity call. Clarity always leads to power. And that's why we built Skyline Academy, not to watch history happen, but to actually write the next chapter of it. So everybody here on this call, everybody watching this replay, stay alert, stay disciplined, stay informed, use this info and apply the strategy. Because while they build these systems solely to control us, we're building the systems on this side for freedom. This gonna conclude your November 4th members only live call.
So for all my path people, everybody that's new, this she brought it up on a call the other night. This is the digital sovereignty situation. Do not bring this back to the group. This is for you as a member. take this sovereignty score. It's only 50% done, guys. You'll take it again. Whoever took it the first time, take it again. There's 34 questions. I added a few new ones. Gave a little bit more context to the answers. I'm building it. I'm receiving feedback from people, fine tuning it. What's going to happen with this assessment situation is we'll be able to give it to the world, and then there's going to be a call to action that's going to tell you every single part of, you know, this digital sovereignty thing that we're building. It will tell you where you're deficient in. It will also give you what the future outlook could be if you continue to walk around as if you don't know because you took it already. So you can't fucking unsee what you just saw. All right. So I'm just letting you know that this shit ain't even done yet. And then I'm not like a guy that just points out problems without giving solutions. All right. So it's going to be paired with a physical workbook, not no digital shit, physical. You're going to get it in the mail. All right. And inside of it is going to walk you through things you need to do or can do, questions and prompts that's going to make you think about stuff on a daily basis. That's the problem with us. We don't really have much time to reflect on shit. We just click in terms and accepting conditions, and that's where we at right now. So once you get through the workbook, you could then start to reassess yourself and figure out where you fall within line. And listen, if none of this shit ever happens, my bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, we just wasted a lot of time trying to prepare, but you better off because you don't know the price of regret at the end of the day. And if I know anything about these banking Zionist Jew cartel dudes, the motherfuckers is wicked, man.
Very.
And I'm telling you, this is a matter of like life and death because I'm a guy that's always going to want to stand on mine and say what the fuck is on my mind. And I hope everybody, no one loses the ability to be able to do that, regardless of what you say. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you got a peanut gallery lined up to watch you, then cool. You know what I'm saying? Everybody should have free will because there's no way I'm cutting it off to think that my way is the only way or that's wrong. It's like, yo, just let the chips fall where they fall at the end of the day. And like I like to say before, I've never seen a circus stay in town for this long. So if you start to stop pulling up to the circus, one app at a time, one TV show at a time, one purchase at a time, you'll start to see shit shift. So I'm not here to crush these dudes. I'm just here to build alternative rails and act like they not even fucking here.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Whether it takes me to another continent, I don't care. 2026, I'm on my Africa tour next. Right when I'm done, like setting up these guys in South America, I'm going to the continent, and we gonna get it in.
Let's go.
We gonna get it in. All infrastructure projects. So America's building a digital infrastructure hub that doesn't really have us. You know, there's no opportunities like that. They're consolidating the businesses. You're not going to be able to do much. So if our spending dollar is the way that they say it is, I'm telling you, man, let's get the fuck up out of here. Let's just come here to visit. Love y'all.